Hi guys, Andy here with my Motorola Moto G, which I've been using for, well, just 3 days actually, but I've got a rough idea of my thoughts and opinions, so I thought it was time to do a video to share them with you. So I bought it for, it's actually £130 from Phones 4u. It's the 8 gig version. There will be a 16 gig version coming, but apparently that's going to be 2 or 3 weeks away. It's 135 totally SIM free, or 120 with a £10 top up. So you take your £10 top up, you throw your SIM away and don't worry about it. The device itself, I think it's quite a nice design. Very sleek looking, plain, as you can see, plain black front. The buttons are built into the display as with the Nexus devices. I should point out, so this is the first Motorola that's been made with kind of, as I understand, with like Google's influence. Google having bought Motorola a year or two back, this is the first device they've really had some say with. So therefore it's kind of, it's a bit more like a Nexus than you would imagine most devices to be, or you know, from a, more like a Nexus. So it's a nice understated design. It's kind of a plasticky back. It feels a little bit cheap. It's not sort of soft touch like the black Nexus 5, but it feels nice enough. Little sort of dimple where the Motorola symbol is. The back cover's quite tricky to get off. I've heard the trick is to actually to use that dimple and pull. It doesn't feel particularly good though. To be honest, I'm not going to bother from there. When you get in, you'll see it's kind of a solid back. You can watch the unboxing. I think it was in the unboxing I did take the back off. So around the edges we've got the headphone jack at the top there with, I mean, it looks like maybe it's noise cancelling mic there, I'm not sure if you can see that. Down the bottom is the micro USB port with the long edge at the bottom, if that makes sense, so the reverse of the Nexus 5. The microphone hole mic is just there, look. Nothing at all along that edge. On this side we've got the power and the volume. I find the volume feels quite low. It's almost sort of halfway down the device. Not that it's a problem, just kind of, I don't know, sort of, I'll reach up here for volume expecting it to be there and it's not, it's lower down. But it's fine, they're good sort of sturdy buttons. You certainly can tell when you're pressing them or when you're not. Like the Nexus 5 actually. There's a good lip to them, there's no mistaking. That moves a little bit but nothing really to worry about. There's no mistaking if you're pressing them. So at the top you can see the earpiece and then the 1.3 megapixel camera front facing and the 5 megapixel camera on the back. In the internals there's a 1.2 GHz quad-core Snapdragon, I think 400 CPU. I've also seen it called an A7. Then there's also a graphics processor unit, which is the Adreno 305 450 MHz GPU. The screen itself is 128 pixels by, well, I managed to do that. I managed to do all sorts somehow. The screen itself, 1280 pixels by 720 pixels, so it's not 1080 like some of the other devices coming out these days, but to be honest, on a 4.5 inch screen you really don't need 180 pixels in that width. The pixel density is 329 pixels per inch, which is actually better than the iPhone 5, which is 326. And all in all, I would say the screen, it really does look very good. You can see the colours, well, I don't know how well you can see them on the video in this lighting. The lighting is not great, I'm afraid. I will be getting some new lights before long to illuminate me a little better. The glass itself is Corning Gorilla Glass. It only says Corning Gorilla Glass, it doesn't say like 1, 2 or 3, so I assume it's the first one. It feels slightly tacky. There's not really any way for me to, you can see kind of, it's just not as smooth as some other devices. And I have noticed that sometimes it's kind of, I don't know, just there's a little more resistance than I expect to feel, I suppose. The speaker is very good. Let's. In fact, I have here a sound meter. I'm going to turn that on. You can see with me talking, it's around the 60s. I'm going to put it on. It's So it gives us a max reading. Let's come back. In fact, I'm going to flip it over. Don't know why I'm worried about what music's playing, but
every time that you get undressed, I hear symphonies in my head. That your ass remind me of a Kanye West song. Kanye West song. Is it weird that I hear trumpets when you turn me on? Turn me on.
now I don't know how accurate this is yet. I've only just had it a day, but 99 is pretty high. I did try the Nexus 5. It was somewhere in the 80s. I'm not sure I can believe 99. I think my motorbike is only 97, on my track bike anyway. There we go. But I should use that in future videos and sound tests. I'll probably do a proper sound test between this, the Nexus 5 and the S4 when my S4 comes back from repair. But the speaker's very loud. Quality of it, obviously it's a bit tinny, as you might expect, especially from a cheaper device. But all in all, very good. You know, I like listening to my podcasts and...
Their Stanford frat. What a surprise. It is, the problem is...
I'm not even sure I was fully up then, actually. Full volume, I should say.
Instagram, which they bought for $1 million. Not necessarily...
But that's certainly loud enough. Passes the kettle test. I should put that into the videos, really, as in I can hear it over my kettle. So the speaker, very good. There is a built-in radio. I haven't actually got headphones nearby to show you. I mean, you won't be able to hear anything anyway if my headphones are in. Oh no, I've put the link. Anyway, there is, trust me. So all in all, the hardware, pretty good stuff. But let's move on and talk a little about the camera, which is possibly, for me, the weakest point of the device. So this 5 megapixel camera. Now some people might say, well, it's 5 megapixel, what do you expect? It really doesn't matter that much. 5 megapixels is still plenty big enough to take a photo that's bigger than your desktop screen on your computer. So, you know, if you're posting to Facebook, why would you need more than probably about 3 megapixels? HTC One has 4 megapixels, has a very good camera. So it shouldn't be the megapixels that put you off. It should be the quality, unfortunately, that puts you off. I can't help but think that a lot of them look a lot like a camera from probably 2 or 3 years ago. Now, I don't know how well we can see looking at the photos it's taken on. I mean, that doesn't look too bad actually. The colours slightly washed out, maybe. The detail on the leaves close up is not bad. In fact, I mean, looking at them now on the screen, these pictures, they look pretty good. The colours there look quite good. What you notice on your computer, and this is kind of, that's almost real size. You see that's kind of fuzzy. And again, you might think, well, you zoom in way in, but you know, we're looking on a phone screen here. If you get on your computer screen, you will see. And I'll crop some to be 1 pixel per pixel, and pop some in over the top here. So these don't look too bad when you're looking at it on the phone. I think you'll see when you get them on your computer, the definition just isn't there. They look a little fuzzy. You know, look at that van. I don't know what you can see, but that van is a bit fuzzy, really. So, personally, I'm not too impressed. I quite like the settings thing. We slide it in from the side. We can spin it around. There's an auto HDR mode. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but it detects when it needs to use HDR. A few other settings. Slow-mo video. I needed that the other day. And there it is right there. Slow motion on. So... reasonably nice app. I'm not quite sure it's not the stock Android one, because I thought, you know, the point of the device was it was stock. The video, I'll show you. I'll run a sample in just 1 second. But again, the colours don't perhaps look too strong. I think it really struggles in the dark. There's a comparison video against the M5. You'll see where the M5 blows it away when it's in the darkness. 720p is as good as it gets as well. Now, okay, this screen is 720p. That doesn't mean if I'm watching something on my computer I don't want to be able to see 1080p. So that's a bit of a limitation, that it can only do 720p video. It does focus well, probably better than the Nexus 5 does. Again, you'll see that in the comparison. Anyway, I'll run a quick sample now so you can see what it looks like. One thing that might make this phone appeal to a lot of people is it's running vanilla Android, straight up vanilla Android. It starts off with 4.3, but we're told that that 4.4 is just round the corner within the next month or two. I've not seen any hacks or upgrades for that just yet, but we'll move on to hackability shortly. So 4.3 vanilla Android. Motorola have put a few sort of their things in. Assist, if we look at this. So it's just little bits that help, you know, you tell it when you sleep and it turns into quiet mode already. Yeah, so it obviously needs to integrate, needs to use your calendar. So that was one. Moto Care, there it is. So this one, interesting, gives you tips based on your usage. Now, I think it only gave me 2 tips and I sort of looked at them, so off they went. But it talks about turning Wi-Fi on and off when you're in areas that you use Wi-Fi and things like that. And then you've got, I think, it's basically live chat and a support call down the bar. I don't want to press them because I might disturb the good people at Motorola. But I thought it was quite interesting. Could be handy if you're giving the phone to, you know, your mum or a dad that's perhaps not so tech savvy. And the other one, Motorola Migrate. So this one basically is to help you move from one Motorola to a new Motorola. Not so important for Android, I wouldn't really think, because most of it, you know, you should be storing your things in the cloud. So software, generally it's all good, it's nice and vanilla. You know, what more could you ask for? Vanilla Android on the phone. So while we're talking about software, I'll just briefly talk about its hackability. Now, at the moment, there's not even a Moto G forum on the XDA developers forum, which is never a good sign, because that's where all the devs hang out and post their ROMs and kernels and all that sort of thing. So there isn't even a forum just yet, which is a bit of a concern, but I'm sure it won't be long before there will be one. Motorola itself will give you links and the software and codes to unlock the bootloader, and you keep your warranty. So I think that, combined with the nice low price, I would have thought there'd be quite a few devs would be jumping on board to give the Motorola G a try. So I would imagine that we'll see some funky ROMs popping up before too long. If we then talk briefly about the battery, it's a built-in battery. You can't change, you can't replace it. 2070 milliamp hours. Now, I've only been using this for 3 days, so I got it on a Saturday morning, I charged it up in the morning, I've been using the device. I then charged it overnight, Saturday night into Sunday, and it came off charge, so it came off charge yesterday morning at 7 o'clock. It's now 20 to 4 the day after. If I use the 2-finger swipe to bring it down, you can see it's still got 29% left. Now, yesterday was a very low usage day, so I'm going to guess I woke up this morning somewhere around that bit there where you see it drop down, because I have been a bit more intense. I mean, you can see the screen on time really isn't much there, look, until this morning where I've been out and about. So Sunday, day off, the phone's laying around, my screen on time was about 50 minutes, I still had 70% battery left. I woke up, it still had, I think, about 60, and I'm still at 29, did I say? 29. Let's see, the screen on time is now 2 hours 40 minutes and 43 seconds, in fact, and I'm still on 29%. I've not turned on the battery saver, so 1 hour 9 minutes, sorry, 1 day 9 hours and 2 minutes. So what are we up to there? 33 hours and I'm still going. I'm not sure. I think only a handful of times have I ever had a device that could do that, and this is after just two charges. So give it its sort of 10 days that you normally need to make the battery, you know, do the best that it can. This could be pretty amazing battery life wise. I know that's a big factor for a lot of people, so don't worry about battery. Really does seem very good. Just real quick, I'll show you what game did I install. I installed some game, Revolt. Just show you that it's got kind of the power to play games. I'm not totally convinced I know what I'm doing in this game just yet, but basically I seem to drive around into bubbles. You can see how smooth that is graphically. Whoopsie. So I would say that's really quite smooth. I thought I was a pickup, that Tonga truck. Whoa. Anyway, you don't need to see me. It's quite a dull game actually, isn't it, really? I think I'm on this because it's like the second track. But anyway, yeah, you don't want to see me racing. So there you go, you can see that's really, you know, it's very smooth, very capable. And even just if we look at kind of swapping around through some of the different see how smooth and quick that is. So I think this probably, well, it has to be surely the smoothest sub £200 device that you're going to find. The processing power, the raw processing power is really pretty good at the quad core. You know, lets it handle things that most of the sort of budget devices just can't do. I think the speaker puts some of the higher end devices to shame, really, mainly in the terms of volume rather than quality, but really is very good, very loud. I think it's on a par with the S4, which I think is probably one of the better speakers there is. Probably volume wise it can match the HTC One, probably not with the quality or the bass. The 720p screen I think is very sharp, great looking colours. I should maybe try a different wallpaper, just show you a different, there we go, look, set wallpaper. You know, look at the, again, I don't know how well you can see on a camera in my poor lighting, but those colours, really very good, really very sharp. You know, I think the screen itself is up there with some of the better devices that cost you £500 odd. The memory space I think will be an issue for a lot of people. Now I've only got 60 or 70 apps installed in total. Having said that, I've still got 3 gig spare. I've got some music, about 4 different albums. I know some people will probably have 50 albums they want to download. You won't be able to do that. You need to stream from Google Play or whoever, Spotify. So storage will come, you know, 5.5 available to you. Well, now 3.17. That is quite limiting, and some people won't cope with that, I don't think. There is a 16 gig version coming, as I said. I would imagine that has 13.5 usable. You should be able to cope with that. It's not ideal, but if you're paying £130, you are gonna, you know, have to accept some limitations, basically. The touchscreen does seem a little unresponsive sometimes. Often I find it's perhaps when it's near the edges. It's probably going to work like flawlessly. No, I wasn't all that accurate with that tap, I suppose. There have been times I thought I've tapped something, it doesn't seem to have worked. I mean, it was, you know, it's all working flawlessly now. Of course. And typing, it keeps sort of typing, no problem with the processor, etc. So yeah, just yeah, I mean, it's, you know, maybe it's me not being as precise, and I'm used to a screen being sensitive enough that it can make up for me being not as precise. Also, the scrolling of it sometimes just feels a little heavy. So if we go into the App Store, see that stopped dead there. That might just be the App Store. I think it probably is loading more things in. But sometimes it just feels a little bit heavy, like it doesn't. There's a bit of lag there. So yeah, just sometimes as I'm scrolling through things, it feels like it's a bit slow. It doesn't flow perhaps like some do. I think there's also obviously there's no NFC and there's no wireless charging. Probably most people will say, so what? Really don't care. Fair enough. You know, I don't use NFC a great deal at all. I've only just got wireless charging, so yeah, it's no real big loss. But for me, and I'm not sure I've really been able to show it very well in this video, for me the biggest drawback is the camera thus far that I've noticed. I don't even think that it's kind of like, you know, it's okay for £130. I personally think the camera is really quite bad. And it's a massive shame. Even if, I don't know what it would have cost, but if it had been like £20 more to put a half decent camera in there, I think this would have made this an amazing device. It would have been, I think it would have been fighting for a lot of people's money that were looking at the Nexus 5. But with what they've put in there, I just think it is very, very poor. So I don't want to end on a negative though, because it is a very good device, especially for £130. It's so slick and smooth, as I've shown you. The screen looks fantastic. The speaker's amazing. There's so many things that are good. The battery life seems stunning. There's so many reasons that you should buy this device. It's just if you can get by with the storage and the camera, that's your call. If you can, you know, I highly recommend this device. £130 is an amazing price for something of this quality. So there you go. You have to let me know your thoughts. If you own one, you know, let me know your thoughts of the camera. Am I being too hard on it? I'll put some links down in the description below, which will link to sort of the raw, like some raw camera footage, be it stills and video, just so you can see for yourself. So there we go, the Motorola G. My name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.